Hi, I'm Hive. If you don't know what these shapes have to do with drawing eyes, I will try to explain. Let's start with the basics. A cat's eye is generally more rounded, while a dog's eye often has a straighter edge closer to the nose. For a cat eye, I start with a circle, then add the corners. The inner corner is larger and angles downward, while the outer corner is smaller and angles upward. Cat pupils usually have a diamond-like shape, while dog pupils are more circular. Then I refine the details. Dogs often have a dark lower eyelid like this, with a small highlight on it. The shading usually softens as it moves downward. Next, I add a shadow from the upper eyelid and a highlight. I brighten the pupil slightly, along with the lower part of the iris. Let's go through it again using a photo reference. For a cat, a circle, two corners, and a diamond-shaped pupil. For a dog, a straighter line on the inner side and more rounded shapes on the outside. The eye opening can be wider or narrower. Some dogs even have very rounded eyes similar to cats. Usually though, they don't have such a large dark area here. Likewise, some cats have narrower eyes and a darker lower eyelid. Another detail. Dogs often have a visible upper eyelid that looks almost like a small eyebrow. Now let's imagine we've drawn one eye. But what do we do with the eye on the far side? Simply copying and pasting it usually looks wrong. So let's figure out why. When viewed from the front, an eye looks like a circle, or more accurately, a sphere. But imagine rotating it. That circle becomes an oval. A pipe. You're probably wondering, what does a pipe have to do with eyes? But it's actually a useful visual example. If a pipe points directly at us, the opening looks circular. As soon as we rotate it a little, that circle becomes more compressed. The more we turn it away, the thinner the oval becomes. From the side it's barely visible at all, sometimes just a thin line. But we all know that an eye is a sphere. And this dark part isn't actually a hole, it's a bulging surface. So let's imagine there's an orange stuck inside the pipe. And just like that, by using an oval and adding the eye details inside it, we get a cat eye in perspective. And look at this. I traced a random pipe shape and suddenly this eye fits that angle much better. But what if the eye is sharper or more stylized, like in a cartoon style? In that case, I start with a parallel line and add a triangle shape. Then I soften it and round the corners slightly. It's important that both edges follow the same perspective line, narrowing slightly as they move away from us. That's how perspective works. The more the head turns away from us, the less of the far eye we can see, because the muzzle starts blocking our view. Sometimes all we'll see is this little part of the orange sticking out. Let me show you how this works on a full portrait. I always start with the eye closest to the viewer. Then I use its size as a reference for the second eye, beginning with the upper eyelid and the oval shape before refining the details. A common mistake is placing the upper eyelid incorrectly. Remember that the eye is a sphere. The eyelid should follow that form, almost like a blanket draped over the top of the ball. A view from below will look like two arcs. I draw one arc on top and one on the bottom, then add eyelashes and other details. From the side, the eye is basically a triangle. From the front, it's a circle. And in a 3/4 view, it's an oval. And now we've come back to the beginning of the video. 3 simple shapes for drawing eyes as beginner. A circle, an oval, and a triangle. By adding the details we've covered earlier, you can turn these simple shapes into a believable eye. Feel free to use this as a reference. Thanks for watching. You can subscribe so you don't miss the new tutorials. See ya!